Good morning, and welcome to Temple Buddhist Center's Sunday meditation service. My name is Dave, and I'm honored to be of service this morning. We hope that our service finds you happy and healthy, but please know that if you're struggling, we hope that Temple Buddhist Center can be a source of refuge for you as we open our hearts to you and your loved ones. Let's begin this morning with a few conscious breaths, taking a few moments to ground, to experience the body, and to breathe together. Conscious breathing is where you seal the mouth, breathe deeply through the nose, and then pause for a moment before releasing slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Breathing in, pausing just a moment, feeling the fullness of the lungs, and releasing slowly. And as you release, checking in with the body, just being aware of what is present and alive in the body right now. A second conscious breath, pausing just a moment, ventilating this precious human form, and then releasing slowly. And as you release, see if you can release any worry or concerns from the week, all the energy of doing, going, striving, accomplishing. Just allow yourself a few moments to cultivate the energy of being, not doing. And a third conscious breath together. Releasing slowly. And as you release, taking time to invite into your awareness the present moment, fully arriving in the here and now. Here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin our service with a chant. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition, and it's not about being a singer, it's about having a voice. Our chant today is Om Ami Dewa Ze, Om Ami Dewa Ze. And this is a chant that enhances compassion for all beings. And as the Buddha said, if your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. So let's take another conscious breath together.
Om Mani Dewa Ze.
Om Mani Dewa Ze. Om Mani Dewa Ze. Om Mani Dewa Ze. Om Mani Dewa Ze. Om Mani Dewa Ze. With a smile. Om Mani Dewa Ze. Om Mani Dewa Ze. Om Mani Dewa Ze. Once more. Om Mani Dewa Ze. Here at TBC, we practice Western Buddhism. This is a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. This new and exciting form of spirituality is dynamic, inclusive, active, and focuses on core Buddhist insights, mindfulness, meditation, and their practical application in our daily life. Our goal here isn't to get everyone to agree on one lineage or philosophy. Rather, it's on cultivating a shared experience of mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting, meditating, or sharing from the heart, we respect that you'll participate only at the level that feels comfortable for you. We take refuge in the three jewels and acknowledge these core values as expressions of the awakened mind: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We value awareness of our own Buddha nature, as well as the Buddha nature of all beings, allowing a new perspective of this and every precious moment. The second jewel is the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear and delusion and help us realize the true nature of who we are. And Sangha, our spiritual community, an essential part of growth where we practice the teachings together and support each other along every step of the path. Let's just take a moment now to silence any electronic devices and prepare a meditative environment. And we will recite the prayer of refuge. We'll recite this together 3 times in honor of the 3 jewels. Take a conscious breath. And together, in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. As we prepare now for a time of meditation, if you have an extensive practice, then I invite you to practice in a way that's fitting for you this morning. If you're new to meditation, we'll begin with an opening dedication. We'll sound the bell 3 times. There will be a brief guided meditation, and then we'll spend approximately 12 to 15 minutes in noble silence. Let's begin by breathing together. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
And so as the sound of the bell recedes, showing us the way into stillness, if you need to adjust your posture or shift a little bit or take another conscious breath, that's perfectly acceptable. Whatever you need to do to partner with the form to find a new level of gentleness and ease with every out-breath. Remembering to release the facial muscles, the forehead, the eyebrows, the jaw. Letting the shoulders drop and the belly soften. And as the breath settles into its natural flow, its natural rhythm, we remain connected to the breath by noticing the rise and fall of the tummy with every in-breath and out-breath. And so now, connected to the breath, the body is gentle, easy and light. We can bring our awareness now to awareness itself. Noticing when the mind becomes distracted by a sound, perhaps in the room or in the hallway or outside. Noticing when the mind becomes distracted by a sensation, like an itch or an ache or a tummy rumble. And noticing when the mind becomes distracted by a thought, or perhaps a string of thoughts. All these things simply come and go. All these things just rise and fall. Our practice is to cultivate the vast, open spaciousness of awareness itself, to cultivate the knower, not the things that are known. And so, connected to the breath, the body is gentle and light. The mind is clear, yet receptive to whatever arises. And the heart is open. We can move more deeply into our meditation. I close my eyes and I see clearly. I stop trying to listen and I hear truth. I am silent, yet my heart sings. I seek no contact and find union. I am still and move forward. I am gentle and need no strength. I am humble and remain whole, returning again and again to the breath, returning again and again home. And so I invite you to remain in a meditative state, connected with the breath. The body is easy. As you bring your awareness now to the sense door of sound, noticing the sound of my voice, or noticing any rustling in the room or the air handlers. And as you become aware of the sense door of sound, can you keep a small amount of your awareness on the still silence within? That silence that's not dependent on external circumstances. Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of touch as you become aware of your clothing upon your skin, or the feeling of the chair or the cushion beneath you. And as you become aware of matter and material and form, at the same time, can you keep a small amount of your awareness on that which is formless? In other words, awareness of awareness itself. Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of sight as you slowly begin to open your eyes. Just letting in a little bit of light, not focusing hard on anything. And as you become aware of colors and objects, things, stuff, at the same time, can you keep a small amount of your awareness on the space around them? The space in this room. The space outside the building. And can you still sense the space around our planet? Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the breath as we take a conscious breath together. And as you release, become present in the here, in the now, in this time, and in this place. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Dave. And so, good morning, everyone. It's okay to talk in a Buddhist meditation service. It's good to see you all and be here with you. It's been an interesting week. I spent a lot of the week at the hospital with my mama. She's home now and she's better. But what I became aware of through the course of the week was kind of the amazing capacity of the heart to be able to hold both joy and sadness, both excitement and anxiety at the same time. It's interesting. It was something I was kind of playing with this week. So often, some of my old patterns were, if there was something bad happening, then I'm sad, okay. Things are rough. And I would tell everybody my story but anymore, it seems like there is plenty of room because I was so excited about the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl and the parade and the festivities and the joy. And I've spoken with a number of members of the Sangha who are experiencing wonderful successes in their lives. So I'm able to hold all of this joy at the same time with some of the difficulties, challenges, and some of the sadness. There's plenty of room in there. It's kind of amazing. So I want to start the talk that, I want to start to repair my microphone. There. I want to start the talk today on Shoulda, Woulda, Coulda, Buddha with a little poem. And the poem goes like this. Shoulda, woulda, and coulda one night sailed off in a paper cup. Shoulda known it was better not to push his luck. Woulda told him, had she not already closed her eyes. And coulda helped, if only pigs could fly. Shoulda never made it, and woulda wouldn't try. Coulda, though, is still out there, and probably will be until the end of time. So I have been aware this past week as I speak with community members about how these little words, woulda and shoulda and coulda, have made it into many of the conversations. So I became curious and was even moved to write a little poem. These terms also bring in some interesting undertones, such as shoulda and all the expectations that come with that, or woulda, and how that locus of control is totally given away to the outside world. And then, of course, coulda, with all of its blame and judgment. So for the most part, this idiom, shoulda, woulda, coulda, is intimately tied to the emotion of regret. And who hasn't experienced regret over things that we have said, done, or for that matter, things that we didn't say or didn't do? And of course, in today's world, you can add in texts and emails. You know, isn't it funny how Gmail just recently came up with a way to be able to pull an email back within like 3 or 4 seconds? Did you notice that new little ability? Or maybe it's been there a while and I just noticed it. But anyway, I'm so glad it's there. And so some studies show that regret is the second most common emotion that people mention in, for example, daily life. And oftentimes it manifests as the words, if only. And that regret is also the most common negative emotion. Moreover, other research suggests that children as young as 2 years old have actually evolved a rudimentary notion of the emotion of regret. It certainly doesn't help nowadays that we have social media where we get to see everyone online doing everything we ever dreamed about. And so now we can add fear of missing out, or FOMO, into that mix. But like the top of a dandelion, regret can lead us to deep insights into guilt or shame or some of these other core issues. Given the universal prevalence of this emotion, it is important to lovingly assess its essential nature as it relates to things that didn't turn out exactly as we had hoped they would. That is when you say, if only. And if only, interestingly enough, could that be more of a rationalization than a rational explanation for what ended up causing distress or disappointment or whatever it was that seemed or appeared to go wrong? So we all operate on the basis of conditioning. And this condition reflects the sum total of our nature, in other words, all of our genetic and biological, what some teachers often refer to as our karmic tendencies that we bring into this particular life and experience, as well as, don't forget, very important, the nurture aspect, all the elements in our environment that have served to influence our thinking and our behavior. From these two aspects are born our personality, our egoic structures, our beliefs, our habit energies, our coping mechanisms, judgments, biased. Even that sense of separation is all built up from these two aspects of our person, if you will, our being. Because for at any particular chapter in your development, your conditioning will dictate your behavior. And it could hardly be otherwise. True, it's not as simple as one stimulus bringing about one response, because as we know, many stimuli can lead to a single response, just as a single stimulus can lead to many responses. But whatever your final reaction, it is governed by the values or priorities that at the time were most compelling to you. Let me say that again, because that's very, very important. Regardless of whatever your final reaction is to a stimulus, it is governed by the values or the priorities that at the time were most compelling to you. It's not fair to see yourself then through the eyes of you now, because you have grown, you have matured mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. You have grown. Remember, we're not a thing, we're a process. So for instance, if you were optimistic and self-confident and believed you could handle whatever the uncertain outcome of your behavior would determine what would be, then you would go for it, whatever this activity or event or experience was. Yeah, feeling particularly, involved, engaged today, so you dive in. But rather, if you felt anxious and insecure without the internal resources to risk some sort of a perceived or possible failure, and such self-protective conditioning would mandate in that moment that you not take action. We draw to us every experience we need for our soul's evolution. That little nudge that we get from regret is part of the process. You see, as it brings into focus patterns of inaction or even unwholesome action, we begin to become aware of these patterns. When we constantly don't act or dive in, or when people send us lots of invitations for things, we constantly kind of pull back just a little bit. Over time, with awareness, and here is where our practice comes into play, with awareness, we begin to see the nature of mind, of the mind that goes with the form that we all call Victor. And the more that it pulls back from things, you begin to see this, which begins to invite inquiry. It begins to invite, what is it that you're protecting? What is it that is in danger? What is it that you are afraid of losing? And so this begins to help us begin that process of self-inquiry, looking at it. So you see, there is no such thing as a bad emotion. There are certainly some unpleasant emotions, absolutely, but there's no such thing as a bad one. They are all here, as Rumi said, to bring you a precious gift, to sweep your house clean of all of its furniture, making room for some new delight. Now, as long as we are not endlessly obsessing over past events, but rather using wise effort to comprehend, to bring a playful curiosity to the feeling nature of some of these habituated mind states. See, you will be able to feel it before the thoughts even arise. With awareness, you can be present. There is a stimulus. Let's say somebody calls and says, let's go bowling. And then you notice the automatic no. No, that's okay. I think I need to take care of a few things around the house tonight. And then be aware of the feeling nature of that egoic mind state that always provides an automatic no. What is that feeling? What would happen if you told everybody, can I call you right back? And then you sit with that feeling. And there's all the thoughts and the rationalizations. Oh, well, you've got things you need to get done. And, oh, goodness, you know, the dog's going to have a fit if you're not here at home with him tonight. And blah, 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 blah. Jack Kornfield says when we stop the war inside, we stop the wars outside. So instead of dealing with all of the thoughts, sit with the feeling. What does it feel like when someone invites you to do something for an event or an activity? And what is that feeling nature that arises before the thoughts come? Wisdom, and Buddhism is a wisdom tradition, it's a wisdom practice. Wisdom derives from the judicious examination or reappraisal of our experience itself. And we can learn from all that we go through unless we bring an ever-increasing maturity and mindfulness to bear on it. Let me rephrase that. We cannot learn from each experience unless we bring a mature awareness and an ability to be present with what it is we're experiencing here. And see, the normal process of the mind is to instantly jump to the outside. Oh, this happened. Now I have a person I can attach this to. Now I can blame that person. And now I remember the last time this person did something bad. All of this external focus is completely negating what you are experiencing inside. And that's why we don't know who we are. Because that little process is happening all day, every day. Constantly focused on the outside, on the external. So if we take maximum advantage of everything that we are exposed to, our understanding will become ever more informed, sophisticated, and loving. Experience truly is the best teacher. And this is just another way of saying that to the extent that your experience of regret indicates that you are attempting to fathom the essence of your intentions, the very fact of your remaining conscious of it and willing to consider it in a different light versus denying or defending, increases the probability that in a similar situation, presence will come to light. The reaction is tempered, and a loving and kind response will be more likely. And the world responds to that. Regret is only valuable if we can, firstly, realize that it is a point of departure, not an end point. To mercilessly torture yourself over a past action or word or deed, or even not taking action or a word or deed without taking into account your level of consciousness at that time is actually an unrecognized form of self-abuse. It will lead only to feelings of self-sabotage, self-denigration, self-defeat. So a far more nurturing objective here is to cultivate awareness and wisdom. How do we bring wisdom into our practice of regret, you ask? Well, you can look at it from two different directions. One is that we look at the future, studying up on what you know about the effects of karma, about karmic implications, about how karma is not so much about one life coming back as a cactus because of the things I said and did in this life. It's not about that at all. When people ask me those questions about karma, I try to help them understand that karma is about this moment, that every intentional thought, word, and deed in this moment will affect the next moment. And that's how we create our whole reality, moment by moment. Nothing ever happened in the past, the future. It only happened in the now. But we can use the future to contemplate, to work with, to study, to examine. So that's one way, is to understand, for example, karma and how karma works, to take a look at how actions manifest and how we create our own reality. How we can contemplate the future results of an action, meditate on the feeling nature of a certain state of mind in which these actions are forged. When you take time to be present with what is this mind state now that I'm experiencing, and then refrain from actions or words or deeds until you can come from a place of love, compassion, kindness. That's a response to the world. The other is a reaction to the world. Next, you can go back and analyze it from the other direction. So, for example, what was in my mind when I was saying that or when I was doing that? Where did it come from in the body? Was there a feeling nature to it in the body as I was saying this or doing it? What was the intention? What was the motivation there? We can generate compassion for what arose at that time, because that's truth, that's real. Not the thoughts about what arose, that's not real. What arose? See, this is how that core of maybe shame or guilt creates a reaction of regret. And then, well, I regret to tell you that I will not attend your party tonight. That regret, if we follow it back, there's some little trauma or crises, a little bit of guilt or shame that can be stuck in there that generates this automatic no, because on some level, we either feel we don't deserve to have this much fun, or we don't want to outshine those around us, our friends and our family, our circle, or even there's some shame of doing this while my mom is at home sick, or whatever the situation is. Who am I to have a good time and fun? So we can generate compassion for what arose there. That is really where we start to get in touch with those deeper core issues. Taking a look at someone who is not me today, but who is somebody else in the continuum of the mind stream. Examine who committed the action and was caught up in the suffering that was in their mind at the time. And that's not you. That's not who we are. But we can become aware of who it was that was caught up in that suffering at the time. We can become aware of what it was that was present. Regret helps us come to know our own conditioning about who you were back then, who you are now, and who you can yet be. It brings clarity of habit patterns. And it brings clarity about our own states of mind. From here, compassion arises for the form with your name on it. And from compassion grows what Jenny talked about 2 weeks ago, this self-compassion or radical self-acceptance. And from this self-acceptance, unconditional self-acceptance, when we grow to love ourselves deeply, we can now share that with the world. You can't give away something you don't have. So when we develop a deep love of this form, of the stories that it carries with it, of all the different experiences, when we develop love of this awareness, we can share that with the world. And so let's take a moment and just close our eyes and imagine for a moment something that was said or done in the past week or two that you might have a little bit of regret around. It doesn't have to be a big major thing. Just perhaps a text or an email or a word or something that was said. And in your mind's eye, review it for a moment, being present in that place, what was said. And then allow that feeling or that sensation of regret to arise in the body. It'll have an epicenter somewhere in the body. Investigate it. What's its size, its shape, its color? Does it pulse? Does it vibrate? Is it solid? Is it soft? What does regret feel like in this body? Is it the size of a quarter or a golf ball or a softball? Is it heavy and dense? Truly investigate, what does regret feel like? And then when you're ready, using your imagination and your intuition, how do you naturally feel like you would like to release this regret? Do you think you could take your hand in, get a hold of it, and simply pull it out and drop it onto the ground? Or maybe you hook up a little tap. You open the tap and you drain this regret onto the earth. Maybe your body becomes porous and every in-breath surrounds this ball of regret. And as you exhale, it takes pieces of it with it. Your imagination is the limit. And this is how we deal directly with the energy instead of the thoughts about it. And then restoring the relationship with that other person by generating a positive attitude towards the person that we spoke unkindly to. Seeing them in love and light. Seeing that they too are struggling each and every day with emotions and worldly problems. And then, breathing deeply, find that light in your heart that shines day and night. Regardless of whatever the situation is, and allow that light to intensify, filling your whole body. And feel the resolve in that warmth and that love and that light to avoid harmful action in the future. And if you are moved to do so, you may take some remedial behavior, like perhaps you write a letter, whether you send it or not. Maybe if you did something like, you did something that was unkind, you could make it a point to do some kind acts for some people, holding doors or buying someone's lunch who's in the drive-thru behind you. Some action that can help strengthen your resolve and bring awareness to love and light, and also at the same time bring awareness to those energetic qualities that accompany the mind states. Those mind states that enable us to say or do things that are not wholesome. And so I leave you with that little exercise that you can do at any time to first review the moment, allow it to arise, investigate it in the body, and then remove it with your imagination, intuitively, and then allow that light to shine and fill in any gaps or holes that might have been there from removing that regret. And then maybe set forth to do something nice for somebody, including yourself. Thank you.
Let's just take a moment now to embody the teachings before we move on to our heart practice. And today's heart practice is an equanimity practice. So feel free to adjust your posture or stretch a little bit as we transition from the Dharma talk, and allow your attention to settle into the present moment. Maybe take a conscious breath. And closing your eyes, begin to relax any physical tension that's being held in the body. Soften the belly, relax the eyes, the jaw. And just allow your shoulders to naturally fall away from your head. You may want to place a hand on your heart or form the Anjali Mudra, the prayer hands, or just turn your hands palm up on your lap. And as the breath settles into its natural flow, begin to reflect on your deepest desire for happiness and freedom from suffering for both yourself and for others. Reflect on your desire to serve the needs of others and to be compassionately engaged in the world. Reflect on both the joy and the sorrow that exist in the world. Allow your heart's truest longing for truth and well-being to come into consciousness. With each breath, breathe into the heart center the acknowledgement of the need to balance your pure intention of creating positive change with the reality of your inability to control people or circumstances. Silently repeat to yourself the following phrases. All beings are responsible for their own actions. Suffering or happiness is created through one's relationship to experience, not by experience itself. The freedom and happiness of others is dependent on their actions, not on my wishes for them. Relax into the vibration of this balance between harmonizing the heart's deepest desire to help others with the mind's wise response of acknowledging our limitations. Let's take a conscious breath together. Breathing in, I calm. Breathing out, I smile at life. In the true spirit of dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, meaning not in return for something that you have received, but so that others who may seek refuge may find it here in this temple. Dana boxes are located at the back of the meditation hall. Thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers and to our TBC ambassadors, those who have committed to regular electronic donations. It's not about the amount, it's just that the monthly giving helps us to set a budget here at TBC. If you'd like to become an ambassador, just click the link on the website or text Unity Temple to 77977. Oh yeah, and we do have the cards on the back of the seats there that has a QR code that you can scan that and it'll take you right there. Thank you to Victor for sharing your wisdom with us today. And thank you, Rochelle, for your beautiful music. And let us prepare now to close our service with the Bodhicitta dedication. And we'll recite this one time. Together. May the pure, brilliant sun of Bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with our hands together in front of our hearts, let us go forth from this place, entering each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. As we open our hands, open our eyes, shine our light into the world, namaste.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Just a couple brief announcements. Don't forget our lending library is open officially for business. Lots of new books have been brought in the past couple weeks. Beth is going to begin the Interplay groups again, which was so much fun. Interplay is an amazing experience where adults can learn to come together in a safe and structured environment to start to explore play. And it's a very simple, easy process. Beth is an accredited coach in Interplay. And so that's going to start up. We don't have a slide for it yet, but that's going to start up March 4th, and it will be every first Sunday at 1 p.m. It is a lot of fun. I hope you can make it. And also, we have crumble cookies downstairs. Thank you so much, Carrie. And coffee and tea. So if you'd like to go downstairs, please don't be shy. Introduce yourself to somebody. Our post-service discussion group is meeting in the room to the left. As soon as you go out the meditation hall doors, go to your left, and that room right down at the end of the hallway is where the post-service discussion group meets. And let's see. Oh, also today at 1 p.m., A Cloud Never Dies. We'll show that film today at 1 p.m. It's only a 27-minute long film. We can talk about that afterwards as well, too, and have a little bit of discussion. It's a film about the life of Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh and some of the wonderful things that he did and experienced and went through, as well as a discussion of his transition. And then next, I think we have Saturday yoga starting March 4th as well. March 4th is going to be a big weekend. And then finally, just our regular screen there, Eric. Oh, yeah, there we go. with all of our weekly activities and things going on. So thank you all so much for being here and sharing your heart and your presence and your practice. What? Oh, yes, thank you. Dave wanted me to remind you about the counter right outside the hall, the meditation hall. There's sign-up sheets for our newsletter, for volunteers. There's also a little comment box where you can fill out a card and place that card in the box if you have comments or questions. If you do have a question, please remember to put your email on there so that I can get back to you. Or Robert gets back to you, one of our teachers. So again, thank you everyone so much. As you go into your day, I wish you peace and blessings.
Figure it out.